Yo, what's up, guys? It's the insane game freak here. It's like a fucking plane crashing and burning. It's like symbolism for certain companies. Anyways, so this video is going to be more discussing about Switch ports and controller options, because I feel like that's something that needs to be addressed. As people have been hearing through various rumors from some sound sources and some bullshit sources. The point is, we're getting Switch ports. That's just a thing that's happening. The games that are currently being mentioned the most, which are the games I'm going to talk about, is Splatoon, Smash, Mario Kart, Mario Maker, Xenoblade, and I think that those are the main ones. Let me just refresh myself just in case I'm wrong. But I think those are it. Mario Kart, Mario Maker, Smash. Yeah. Okay. So I think those are all the main ones. So we're gonna kind of talk about each port and talk about the viability of them, and then on top of whether or not I would buy them personally, and just kind of getting everyone's thoughts on it. So first things first, Smash and Splatoon are probably the easiest sales, because Smash, particularly because they did nothing with the gamepad, so transferring it to Switch, all you really got to do is just add in the DLC. Because for those who don't realize, Smash's DLC as of right now is like over $100. Like if you wanted to get Super Smash Brothers for Wii U or 3DS and want to get all the DLC that came with it, you'd be spending over $100. So having a definitive edition, period, is it's okay. Now, whether this definitive edition for Switch is going to include all the 3DS stuff, that would make it even a better sell. And then on top of that, if they added like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 more characters, I would hope at least 1 or 2, but that would be a good sell for it. Now, the major point of contention, which will be a trending theme throughout all of these ports, well, most of these ports, is controller support. Because half of the reason why Smash and Wii U and even Wii to an extent, and Brawl to an extension, were able to survive as long as they did was because they supported the GameCube controller, which is the way competitive Smash is played, which would be the people who would be more than likely to buy a fucking port of it, to buy a Switch variation of it if it has GameCube controller support, which I'm more inclined to believe it will. And this is where the controller stuff kind of sits in. You made an adapter for the Wii U version that has USB ports. And we know that the Switch has USB ports. We also know that the Switch doesn't take external hard drives in those ports. Realistically, the question becomes, why would you need USB ports on a console that doesn't take external hard drives? That doesn't seem a little weird to anybody? What do you need USB ports for when your console doesn't take external hard drives? So I'm going to take a shot in the dark and assume that the USB ports, part of them will probably be used for either 1 or 2 things. Adapter for the GameCube controller, or possible another like LAN adapter for the Wii. That's if the console doesn't include an Ethernet port, which I'm more inclined to believe it probably doesn't. It probably is Wi-Fi only, and you probably would have to use the new LAN adapter. Hopefully they make a new one, a better one, that can really take advantage of the internet speeds that you may or may not have in your house, or the potential speeds you could have in your house. I'm hoping they make a new LAN adapter if that is the case, but I think that's what the USB ports are for, because there's nothing else to use it for. The only thing else I can think to use them for is a charger for your Pro controller. You don't need 3 of those. So I would say I'm hoping the GameCube adapter, that's like the biggest point of contention with Smash specifically, is GameCube support. Also, it'd be totally used for fucking, well, I thought it was going to be used for the Wii U, which is GameCube ports. GameCube Virtual Console. So that's another situation. Next thing, and that's really all Smash is concerned with, because there wasn't any major point of contention, which kind of goes for the same thing with Mario Kart. Mario Kart, there's not too much you're really losing from going from the Wii U version to the Switch version, because all the gamepad really showed was like gave you a horn, a map, and the racers. But because the map was on the damn touchpad anyway, it was on the gamepad, you couldn't really take advantage of it to begin with. Like, from what we've seen even in the Switch trailer footage, that's not a hard thing to throw the map back onto the screen. I mean, every other Mario Kart, other than like the handheld, other than like maybe the DS/3DS games, had the map on the same screen as the like races. So that once again, not gonna be a hard game to port. Splatoon is where things get a little messy. No pun intended. Splatoon as a port, in terms of like, now we've already heard rumors that like with Splatoon, it's on the same level as Mario Kart 8, where it's still like the main version of the game is like Splatoon 1, like Mario Kart 8. But like Mario Kart 8 would probably include all the DLC, some new characters, and improved mechanics and shit. I think for Splatoon, we've already seen that there'll be new clothes, new outfit choices and hairstyles, new maps, it looks like. And a lot of people and the rumors seem to be speculating around that it's pretty much gonna be like a relaunch of Splatoon, like how it was in 2015, where you put out the game and then you put out like constant new shit throughout the year, which would work. That would totally work, and Splatoon could work for it. The biggest point of contention for me personally with Splatoon is whether or not those controllers have gyro, whether the Switch hub controller that hoses the Joy-Cons together without even being like separate, whether that or the Pro controller has gyro in it. Because I mean, you can kind of make up the other features, like the whole, especially there's been this rumor about changing your loadouts after you die, which is like what every other shooter does. That'd be perfectly fine. Um, but in terms of like, and even the map stuff, you could get away with doing that. It'd be pretty much, honestly, you could do that after you die. Like, well, no, because you could squid jump at any time. You could like, well, it depends on how much controller customization you have, but you could even dedicate a button to that. It's not like you're using every single. Well, are you using? I don't think you're using every single button on the Wii U gamepad for Splatoon. Wait a minute. Shoot, turn to a squid. You're shooting, walking. I'm trying to think. Sub weapon, special weapon. No, you're not using all the buttons. You're not really using buttons that much for Splatoon. Well, not to the degree that some people might think. So I easily dedicate a button to do the squid jumping. Um, so in the map situation, it's the same thing as Mario Kart. You could easily put that on the screen. So the only major point of contention for Splatoon's port is whether or not we keep gyro. And we better fucking keep gyro. I swear to God, we better fucking keep gyro. Because that's like one of the things about Splatoon that makes it so much fun. Because even if you don't personally like gyro, there's a good amount of the community that prefers gyro over traditional controls. At least in terms of the up and down aiming, not necessarily the whole thing, but like the up and down aiming, shit. And I'm hoping that Pro controller has goddamn gyro controls, because that would be god tier. So that's the major concern with that. And then we start getting then we start getting into the games that feel like are gonna truly fucking suffer on the Switch, purely because of how well optimized for the Wii U they were. And those two games I'm thinking of specifically would be Mario Maker and Xenoblade Chronicles X. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles X is a weird situation because it probably is one of the only games I would say on this list that has the most to gain from being ported. What I specifically mean is in terms of graphics and in terms of like visual fidelity, Xenoblade stands to gain a lot, especially depending on how powerful the Switch is. Xenoblade stands to gain like a lot. Like there's a lot of shit that it could gain just from looking better, re-adding certain features and shit into the game. This shit could be so fucking good. It could be so motherfucking good. Just graphically, it could to me that would be like a visual showcase for the system. Porting a Wii U game to the Switch and seeing how much better it looks. Especially if it's not like if it's like a legit if it's kind of like how Splatoon and Mario Kart 8 Switch are supposed to be, where they're like revamped, like where they, because a lot of people have been saying Splatoon and Mario Kart 8 ports are like blurring the line between a definitive edition and like a borderline sequel. Because a lot of people think that like the shit that's in Splatoon, the Splatoon port, and even Mario Kart 8 port are things that you could easily have just thrown into a sequel. If it's one of those ports, it has a lot it could gain. The problem is it also has a decent amount of shit to lose. To be real here, Mario Maker and Xenoblade had like some of the best gamepad usage. Now, considering Xenoblade had a feature in which you could pull up the menu while you were running around, I don't think the map situation would be as offensive to throw in there, because the map you could easily, but you just kind of lose that. No. Playing Xenoblade on one screen, you kind of lose the flexibility that was presented with the gamepad, where I could just tap a fucking icon, hit teleport. I could micromanage all my shit without even messing up my main game. Like, there was a whole bunch of shit I could have been doing without going into the menu. But the argument then is, well, I'm still standing around in the main game, so what difference does it make if all it just means is that I can be actively attacked while in the menu? That's supposedly the idea. So it's kind of a hit and miss thing, because to me that would kind of take. Also, it's a game that realistically, and this kind of gets into the overarching issue with all these Switch ports. If you're a Wii U owner and you were a dedicated Wii U owner, like half of this lineup isn't as appealing to you. Because Xenoblade is also one of those games that if you were a Wii U owner, unless you really fucking like the game, you're not rebuying the game. It was an over 100-hour game. The best improvements I could see it adding is like maybe certain streamlined aspects of the game, and the game was pretty streamlined, and the game was pretty like straightforward about how it was handled in the first place. You could streamline really small aspects, maybe change some of the issues, like how the music fucking overshadowed the voices in a lot of cutscenes. Maybe slightly more customization options and better graphics. But like, it's also a 100-hour game. Like, I don't know that many people who are going to sit there and be like, I'm going to replay this game again. Especially since supposedly this thing is supposed to be coming out around the same time as Zelda. Ain't no one's going to play 2 open world games back to back. Especially when one is brand new and one's been out for like 2 years. It'll be around 2 years at that point. That's my issue with Xenoblade, is that Xenoblade I don't feel like offers enough. And if you're a Wii U owner, you played the game already, I don't think it's going to offer enough to justify playing it again. But then again, we could see. Mario Maker is going to pretty much turn into either you play a neutered version of the game on the controller, or you play the better version on the handheld. Like, Mario Maker Switch feels like it's literally just going to be. It's kind of like how the 3DS version is. Except the 3DS version is neutered because its online system for the 3DS version is pretty fucking mediocre as fuck. That was gonna be rough, because if I want to use it the right way with the touchscreen controls, then I'm limited to playing only it on the handheld variant. And if I want to play it on the console, or what I would have to do is make levels on the handheld, then put the handheld in the Switch, put it in the dock just to play them. It's kind of cumbersome. It's not the most appealing thing in the world, but that's all you can do. Because once again, it's not like none of these games are portable to a single screen experience. But something like Mario Maker is almost inherently neutered by a single screen experience. Unless the screen is touchscreen, which can only happen on the handheld. Which was why it would work on the handheld, it just wouldn't work on anything. Just on a console, then it just turns into the fucking, I gotta pick up my goddamn controller, and I'm looking at the screen, I have to drag. This shit is cumbersome as fuck. It's not terrible. It's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, there were other games on other consoles that were like make your own games that use controllers, but it's just that I gotta fucking do all this, and you'll be tapping a little bit to the left to make sure you're highlighting the icon you want to highlight. You'll hit A, then you'll dial it back, hit A again, dial down, A, up, B, A is not the right spot, B, A. It's like the shit's just cumbersome. In comparison to what you can do with the Wii U gamepad, it just feels fucking cumbersome. It's like, I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to do this shit at all. And then to kind of get into the situation with the controllers and people thinking and people's whole idea of what the Joy-Cons can be. What I'm specifically referring to is the ability that the Joy-Cons are new gen Wiimotes. And something that lends itself to this, and this is why I would say people don't need to worry about certain features as much, is that something like new gen, like Wiimotes, motion controls will never go away for Nintendo because they have Wii games that they're porting to Virtual Console. And the reason why that's important is because you can't, a lot of those games you would have to completely retool to play. Actually, some of those games just don't play good as controller games. Like Trauma Center. You can do that, but it's almost a completely neuter experience. Trauma Center is a franchise that you legitimately should never play with anything other than a damn Wiimote. Which is why my thought process is that the Joy-Cons are new gen Wiimotes. Remember, the Wiimote, the only upgrade the Wiimote ever got was Wii Motion Plus, and that was 5 years ago. It'll be 6 years when the Switch comes out. I'm going to take a guess and say that the Joy-Con controllers are new generation Wiimotes that would make a lot of fucking sense because, as I said before, I don't believe the eShop is going to start over. I think they're going to keep the eShop and it's just going to, you're going to have everything you have in the eShop now. Maybe we'll improve emulation, probably. Hopefully. You can't put out something like the Nintendo NES Mini with that good of emulation and then look at the Wii U's emulation and be like, you better not just port that over. We better get like NES Mini quality emulation. So, I think those are new generation Wiimotes. I'm hoping, and that's my biggest concern. I don't give a fuck if there's a headphone jack in my controller. I really fucking don't. I know some of you do. I don't. I don't need a headphone jack for my controller. I don't care. What I'm concerned with is gyro. I need gyro in this fucker so I'm not doing that weird Wii mode fucking pro controller bullshit they had on the site. When you have to like fuse two controllers, that tells me you need to just put gyro controls in the damn Wii mode. I think even the PlayStation 4 controller has gyros in their Wii mode. I mean, their PlayStation 4 controllers. They have gyros in their controllers. That's what I meant to say. So that's the thing that probably needs to happen. Yes. Yes, it does. Please and thank you. But in terms of the ports I'd be most likely to buy, I guess that's what I'll end this on. Smash, probably. Splatoon, probably. I don't really need to play Mario Kart again. There's nothing against... I actually think Splatoon is just a funner game than Mario Kart. I get more of a kick out of it, personally. Gyros, hopefully, included. Xenoblade would have to do a lot for me, personally. Xenoblade would have to do a lot. It's not like I'm against it. It also depends on how good this Mario Rabbids RPG game is. Because if that's good, I don't really fucking need another RPG, a massive RPG. But that's kind of a wait and see thing, which is like all of this is. But just tell me your thoughts and where you guys is at. Which ports would you get? Which things you want to be kept from the Wii U version going into the Switch version? What sacrifices are you willing to make? Because the map situation doesn't bother me too much in Splatoon. The one thing that's going to piss me off in Splatoon is, like I've said before, is if I don't have gyro in my controllers. Which, if the Joy-Cons are new generation Wiimotes, that tells me I probably do have gyros. But that's up in the air until that is proven. So everybody give me your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Life's a game, play to win, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.